It's called the music business for a reason. They're here to make money. Going from the military and flying Black Hawk helicopters to doing country music. I decided at that point, forge my own path, chase my dream, and something that I really love to do. Your story could change people's lives. You have a conduit to be able to get your story out there and inspire others to lift themselves up through tragedy or whatever it may be. But if you can't figure out how to market yourself as a marketable product, the bottom line is record labels care about putting meat in seats and selling albums. That's it.
Ryan, welcome to the Point of Impact. Glad to have you here.
I appreciate you having me on, brother.
I do appreciate what you're doing and the emotion behind it and the patriotism, all that's put into your music and what you're doing. So I wanted to ask you, like, when did music first come into your life? Like, when did you start? When did you want to become a musician, or was this one of those things where your folks force-fed you an instrument, said you're going to learn something?
Well, I actually, during flight school, started doing karaoke and singing competitions to help pay the bills. I was broke, going through a divorce. And I was initially doing it for fun. And then I entered a karaoke competition and won it, and realized that I had something there that I didn't know I had. Found a new talent later in life. I think I was 27 or 28, and going through flight school, and then was doing karaoke when I was restationed to Germany after flight school. Then went to Iraq and started writing. And on January 2004, my brother, who's a cancer survivor, was non-deployable. Got a waiver to be deployed, but he had to get bi-monthly blood screenings for his cancer to make sure it didn't come back. He was a passenger in a medevac helicopter on the way to Baghdad Hospital. When that medevac was shot down, he was killed in action. I was actually deployed at the same time with the 1st Armored Division. He was with the 82nd. And I came home to Aaron's funeral from combat and decided after an extended, I would say several months of trying to figure out how, I was following his footsteps my entire life, essentially. And he was much more of a badass than I was by far. He was Ranger in the Ranger Regiment and ambushed in Mogadishu for the in Somalia for the event that Black Hawk Down was made after. He was one of the Rangers on the ground for that. And top, 4 in the best Ranger competition 2 years in a row with Jeff Struker. So, he was an all-American superhero, and I wasn't. I was military intelligence, but I did follow in his footsteps to get into aviation. And I decided at that point to forge my own path. I didn't have his footsteps to follow in anymore, and chase my dream and something that I really love to do. I love the performance aspect of singing and also the writing aspect of it. I've always written, so I started chasing my dream in his honor, and it led me to the many things that I've gotten to do since then. Some incredible experiences, some incredible memories, and never having a record deal, never having a song on the radio, never having formal management. Was able to tour around the nation with the professional bull riders in some of the biggest arenas, from AT&T Stadium to Madison Square Garden to T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, and get to do some pretty incredible things. So it's been quite the journey so far, living in my brother's honor. So that's how it all got started.
How close in age were you and your brother?
We're about 1 year, 9 months. So pretty close. He was 1 year, 9 months older than me.
And you said you're deployed, same AO, same region together. You weren't deployed together, just at the same time?
Right.
Oh, yeah, how did that work?
I was at Baghdad International with the 1st Armored Division, 2nd 501st Aviation with the 4th Aviation Brigade, and he was with the 82nd, their cav unit in Al-Taqatum, just southwest of Fallujah. So he was just west of me. I actually flew Kimberly Hampton. Captain Kimberly Hampton was shot down on January 2nd in 2004. And I flew her, one of her best friends and college roommates, I believe, over to her funeral or her memorial service on January 4th. And that was Aaron's unit as well. So I got to see him for a short period of time during that visit. And we flew back, and that was the last time that I saw him alive. So it was bittersweet to look back on those memories, knowing that that was the last time I saw him alive. But it was also, I was fortunate to have been able to see him alive that day. So just south, or he was, like I said, he was just west of me.
You've been singing for a while. Did you play uh, the guitar and some other instruments also, or strictly singing?
I play the guitar, but minimally and not very good when I sing. So I strum around on it here and there, but I wouldn't say that I'm good at it by any stretch of the imagination. If anybody comes and watches the show, I don't. I mean, it's pure energy from beginning to end. I'm not a standstill kind of guy. It's more like a rock show than it is a country music show. I guess you
Uh-huh.
could, if anybody had ever seen, what was it? There are a ton of artists out there that are like it, but I'm a bounce around like a little like a bowl or a pinball on a pinball machine, and that's kind of what the show is about. But
Hmm.
I don't play the guitar in the show by any stretch. I wouldn't try it because I'd screw it up and try and sing at the same time I was playing. I'm just not. I'm not good at doing that.
I forget which it was a blues or early rock uh, artist who just played. It was like one chord. It was like the C chord, but he goes, "Yeah, it's my chord." It's like I do it well.
That's great. Yeah, there are a lot of country music artists out there that have a guitar on stage with them but don't play it most of the time. Even the king of country music, he plays minimally. His guitar, that's George Strait, by the way, for a lot of folks out there. But he plays minimally. It's a prop, and a lot of artists out there play maybe the first couple chords of a song, and then their guitar's muted, and they've got somebody backstage playing for them or on stage playing for them. So I've been fortunate to be able to do country music since 2005 until now, and make quasi living at it, I guess you could say. Not playing guitar, but
Hmm.
having still getting in the writers' room with guys who can play guitar or gals who can play guitar, piano, or something like that, for us to be able to put a good song together. Because most of the songs that I do have recorded, I've co-written. So it's been, the guitars. It would be a great thing if I could do it, but at this point in my career, it's kind of like I could pick it up and learn it if I want to, but it's not really going to advance me anymore, I don't think, than I've already gotten to. And if I do advance more, it's going to be from the music and the songs and the performances. So,
So I'm not doing the line dancing or the two step or anything like that while on stage.
right. I teach
Um,
that in our corporate events. I do teach line dancing in our corporate events, but yeah, I mean, otherwise it's just freestyle boogieing on stage for me.
my son, my oldest, is 14. He picked up the guitar 4 years ago now, and he loves it. He plays every day, and he's really getting into it.
That's
Uh,
great.
but he doesn't do the singing yet. Maybe it's because he's 14, and he doesn't. He just, I guess, he just went through the whole voice cracking stage.
Yeah,
Um, but he's also, I don't know, he likes the 80s grunge and earlier, yeah, rock. So he just wants it loud, and he'll let somebody else sing, I guess. But
that's
one of the
great.
things, and this might also be boys teenager mentality, but he wants the next biggest shiniest guitar. And I know there are a lot of artists out there that, yeah, have guitar collections. They like a nice. Of course, everybody wants a nice axe, but how is it from your perspective? Do you just get the best, or will any old guitar do?
Well, I mean, I will tell you that my guitarists, and I've had multiple on stage with me. Generally speaking, I have two guitarists on stage with me, sometimes three, sometimes four. But the tone that you're looking for. I mean, these guys change out their guitars based off the tone they want to hear. If they're looking for a specific style of playing, a specific kind of music. Um, the I mean, several $1,000s for a guitar for a kid his age is probably overdoing it. You can get actually some really good guitars on Facebook Marketplace from folks, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it as he gets more advanced, he'll figure out and more experienced in it and getting to perform on stage and those kind of things. If he's looking for specific tones, he'll want to change his amp out. Or he'll want, nowadays, my guys don't even use amps. They plug into a pedal board. For traveling, it makes it easy, and also for expense wise for whoever to not have to rent amps on stage. We have a completely contained system for when somebody hires us on, so they don't have to rent out, multiple amps and multiple backup guitars and all this kind of stuff. My guys travel with their sounds, and nowadays with, you could take a couple of guitars with you at the most for my guys at our level. I mean, when you get to the huge stages and you're doing it, I mean, because I've been an independent artist doing this on smaller stages, on massive stages, but also on smaller stages as well. But as far as the guys playing guitar, I mean, they have a primary that they bring and then a secondary that they bring with them as well. But generally speaking, if they're going to be playing, my show has so many different tones in it. Some of the guitar players that I play with will bring 3 or 4 just to get a single, a tone for one song that's different than another. If you're looking for a traditional country song, some guitars don't play, the grungy, harder stuff as well. But I will also say that those guitarists know tone more than I do. They know what they're looking for. I could tell when it's an extreme side of it, but if they're looking for a specific sound, they can actually create those tones on these pedal boards now with different MIDIs and different AI generated sounds that sound exactly the same. Like they can replicate the sound of multiple amps if they want to, and multiple guitars. So if they know that this tone that Axe used on, or Slash used on Guns N' Roses song, they can find the actual guitar he used and the amp he used, the settings that he used during that song, push a button on their pedal and make it sound exactly the same. And
That's incredible.
untrained ear, no one would know the difference. It would sound exactly like the Def Leppard song or a Metallica song or Nirvana song from the 90s grunge rock. Yeah, I mean, and they can do that with 1 or 2 guitars max. I mean, they can change all of that. So the guitar itself, I mean, what I would suggest, instead of him spending money on all of those things, that he spend money on the technology to do what I just mentioned, because that's the way that the world's moving to. For the folks out there in the audience, if they go to, huge concerts, you're going to see guys with pedal boards that have 30-something pedals on them and whatever and all this kind of stuff. And then you'll see some guys who have one strip, who have just a few buttons on each one of those that can create as many sounds as they want. The wah pedal, all those different things that are on pedal boards. But if he actually figures out how to use the technology to do that, he just needs a good guitar, a really good guitar that he likes the sound of, that's natural, and then takes those different tones and creates it that way. Because he can sit there in his own room with headphones on, with that pedal board and a computer, and make whatever sounds he wants to make. I mean, and he would not be able to tell the difference with his ear now. Down the line, as he becomes more trained, because 4 years into playing guitar, kids usually pick it up a lot faster. But once he gets 15 years or 10 years to 15 years, maybe 20 down the line, he's going to know the difference between his tones. But my guys, I mean, they get out in front of any audience, and like I said, we go from traditional sounding country to full on Metallica in my shows, and my guys can make tones with the same guitar. There's some of them that are specific that they use, but outside of that, they can make all those tones with the same guitar, and never change a guitar out. But my guys, like I said, they usually like to have a primary and a secondary for separate types of playing that they do based off the neck, all that kind of stuff. But that's what they're experts at. I just enjoy getting to listen to the different tones that they throw out there. So
that's pretty incredible. I know that Yeah, they've got the traditional foot pedal, and you can switch channels on the amps and even on the guitars themselves. But having that footboard, that's pretty incredible technology, especially because I've been to concerts like I think it was Aerosmith. It was like a parking lot of guitars behind them
Oh
on the
yeah.
stage. Yeah, it was pretty incredible. They just each song, you'd go back, pick up another one. You'd have whatever stagehand or roadie come and switch up between songs. But no, it's pretty incredible technology. I know your music. It definitely a lot of it sounds more rock than that twangy old timey country. Uh, all of it sounds good, but let me ask you about the music itself. Did you set out to do the patriotic music? Was that um, something you were like drawn towards, or was it something that you kind of fell into because of your family history, or something
Oh,
else?
the family history is kind of, and I mean, folks can go listen to any of my all of my songs, and you'll see that there's a blend of both, the patriotic stuff and that. But I mean, once I got picked up by the PBR at a veterans event. I opened for Doc and Warrant and Jack Russell's Great White, believe it or not. And because my music, like you said, it has that '80s rock feel to it, mixed in there. The patriotic side, and then they called me the patriotic voice of the PBR because they were doing the Celebrate America campaign, and with my backstory, it fit perfectly with what they were trying to do, honoring fallen law enforcement, first responders, and military. We wrote the album and recorded it here in Nashville, and the Celebrate America album, but we already had Burn Out at that time, and then I kind of once I did the Celebrate America thing, I got I didn't want to get pigeonholed into that kind of that specific kind of music, but it doesn't hurt because I sat down with I did a Charlie Daniels event here in Nashville, and I sat down for breakfast with David Corlew, and I was trying to shy when I came into town. I was trying to shy away from that patriotic thing in my background because I didn't want to get pigeonholed into it. Although there is a market for it, and I mean, and that market has actually been what I've been able to make a living on because our brothers and sisters in arms in the hero community, and that's across the board. They're very loyal, they're very patriotic. So obviously for me, it's been a great niche to be in, but I was shying away from it. And David Corlew, who's Charlie Daniels' manager, Charlie Daniels wasn't always patriotic stuff either, but he's an immensely patriotic person. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
he kind of fell into that along with the Southern rock, but that patriotic vein as well. But David said, Ryan, why aren't you telling your story? And he said, one of the greatest pieces of advice that he gave me that kind of changed the trajectory of where my career, changed the trajectory and direction. He said, country music fans can can tell. I mean, they can see through um, the BS. Like they can see through contrived. Uh, and in Nashville, they put people through what's called the mill. And essentially, you come in,
Mm-hmm.
whatever artist you are, you do have to find your way, but you may not be the same kind of artist that you come into town as. Eric Church was a perfect example. If you look at his first, way back when he first started, he had a very Lady Antebellum look to him. And now he's got this, country rocker look to him, all American kind of look to him. But they put you through the mill. And a lot of folks, if it's not genuine and your music is contrived, they can see through that in the country music industry. And he said, you should be telling your story. Your story could change people's lives. He says that's what music does. Is you have a conduit to be able to get your story out there and inspire others to lift themselves up through tragedy or whatever it may be, and or inspire them to be patriotic or inspire them to to know that you can change from one career path to another that are two extreme, two completely different career paths. You know, going from the military and flying Black Hawk helicopters to doing country music. And he said, and I think that you're selling yourself short on your story. And going mainstream is great. Include the mainstream in there, but you should be out there telling your story. And that's where Burn came in. At that, it was very close to that. John Tigan and Mark Geist, Oz, and Tig from 13 Hours, Secret Soldiers of Benghazi, those guys from the Benghazi attack were out promoting the movie. And then the Volunteer Jam came in. Charlie Daniels has been doing the Volunteer Jam since 1969 with the original Leonard Skinner. And I was fortunate to be invited to perform in between Ted Nugent and Michael W. Smith at his Volunteer Jam. And, you know, Burn was written, but it wasn't recorded. And those guys were promoting the movie, but the movie wasn't done. They weren't done editing it. There was a release date in January. And I just talked to Mark Geist and said, "Hey, I've got a song. How hard would it be to get a song in there?" And he's like, "Well, we've got pretty good pull with Paramount. Let me hear the song." And I let him hear the song, and I rewrote a couple lyrics to fit the movie. And by the time that we got it recorded and mastered and all that, and John Tigan really was instrumental in getting us the trailer clips from the film to put in the music video. But by the time that we got done with the song, they had already finished the editing and done the score for the film. So we missed out on that, unfortunately. But Paramount gave us authorization to use the trailer clips for the film to use the song and the music video as promotion for the film. So have some multi-million-dollar clips in that music video that were created by Paramount and scenes from the movie itself, which is pretty incredible. And that really kind of put me into that because the Benghazi situation was right around, we started getting into the election, you know, with Hillary and all that. And that really pushed me into the political sphere of being anti-Hillary because I got to meet the guys who survived that attack and the heroes, you know, of that attack. And Chris Peranto came on board, Tonto from the event, and you guys know him as the Jumbo guy from 13 Hours, but he jumped on board and got in the music video with Tig. And, you know, and then for me, I started moving into the political sphere because I was 100% anti-Hillary at that point. And I wasn't necessarily even pro-Trump at that point because I didn't know. I mean, I just knew I was anti-Hillary at that point. And so anyway, and that kind of put me into the patriotic side of things even more.
Yeah.
So, but that Burn was before I got, and Burn was what launched me into, or got me invited to that event in Colorado, opening for Doc and Warren and Jack Russell's Great White. That's where the CEO of the Professional Bull Riders was there. He heard my background and my story, loved the show, loved the performance, asked all of that and said, "Hey, we've got some big things going on." This was in 2016. So we wrote the album, or we wrote the record in, I believe, some in 16 and some in 17, recorded it in 17, released it in 17. And Steven Tyler from Aerosmith was the headliner in 2017 at the World Finals in Las Vegas. And then I was the headliner in 2017, and nobody knew who I was. No, nobody had a clue who I was. But we released the album that weekend when I was the headliner at the World Finals and sang to my second sold-out arena ever. It was pretty incredible. And then my first show in 2018 was Madison Square Garden. So went from the patriotic side of things. But then if you look at my music videos that I've released since then, the last two music videos I released, one was in honor of my good friend, Tony Ryan. It's called No Second Chance. And that has nothing to do with patriotism. It's just about living your best life. And then the other one was Let's Talk About Heroes, which honored our fallen law enforcement, first responders, and military service members. So, you know, we released two different, and since then I've released several songs that have nothing to do with the military and a couple songs that do. So it's been, you know, and What You Think of Me actually was released, and that was in honor of my brother. I wrote that on the 10th anniversary of his death in Iraq. We released it on the 20th anniversary in 2024. On the last day that I saw him alive in Iraq. So, and What You Think of Me's got that obviously military side to it as well. So
that sounds great. I mean, you get to perform what you love to do. Right? You get to share your story and you get to help others with the message. Not only that, but you're also get to perform with what I'm guessing could be some of your musical heroes. Right? Have you had any of these moments where you get to meet somebody you've been listening to for years and get to play with them?
oh yeah, yeah, and not all of those meetings have been great. Sometimes they say it's best not to meet your heroes, but I had the fortunate opportunity again to be invited back to the volunteer jam the next year and play the pre-party with before open for Kelly Pickler, and then I got to get on stage and sing with Charlie. But also on stage was Three Doors Down and Travis Tritt and Chris Stapleton and Luke Bryan and Kid Rock got out there. Although, yeah, I don't want to talk about the Kid Rock situation, but Travis Tritt, I got to meet him, and I mean, just an incredible human being. Met him actually the year before that as well. But he's my favorite artist of all time. I've got Garth Brooks for performance aspect of things, and then I got to see Travis Tritt for his vocal. I've seen him on him do a show live. It was absolutely insane, so good. But then I got to see him sing next to he and Chris Stapleton got up and sang together, and believe it or not, if you close your eyes and you listen to those two sing live on stage, you almost can't tell the difference between the two. They really, I mean, everybody loves Chris Stapleton's vocal range and all that kind of stuff. And Travis Tritt, he can blow too. He can really, really sing as well. But his performances and all that. And I got to meet Luke Bryan. He was nice as could be. That was the same concert. I don't know if you remember it, where he slapped the audience member. There's a guy that was being disrespectful to a woman. I was there at that. I sang on stage with him prior to that with Charlie Daniels, and I watched him smack that guy, and that guy deserved every bit of what he got because he was disrespecting the front row, which is predominantly Charlie Daniels' family. And he was disrespecting Luke Bryan. He was cussing and all that kind of stuff. And Charlie Daniels is a devout Christian, but he was doing it right in front of Charlie Daniels' wife and all that stuff. And Luke Bryan let him know he did what I believe any true country boy would do. You know, he slapped the nasty out of that guy's mouth, which, and then the guy was, hauled out. So yeah, I've gotten to meet them, and it was amazing. I mean, Warrant, she's my cherry pie. I got to meet that whole group, and then Eric Turner, who's the rhythm guitar player for Warrant, he and I co-wrote my song "Arrival." So the guitar lick at the beginning of it, that's Eric Turner's guitar lick, and I co-wrote that song with him, which is pretty incredible to say. I co-wrote a song with one of my, a member of a band that I've been a huge fan of since the '80s. It's just incredible. I've had some awesome experiences and got to, really get to do some cool things. I mean, Tracy Lawrence. I met George Jones a long time ago, but that was before I was a country music artist. But Tracy Lawrence, I got to meet him backstage at the Grand Ole Opry. Charlie Daniels introduced me onto the Grand Ole Opry stage on September 11th in 2015. I mean, I've gotten to meet several country music artists that I think, are just amazing. Winona Judd was super sweet to me on stage, backstage. Trace Atkins, not so much. Kid Rock, not so much. But outside of that, I mean, I've gotten to meet I'm getting to meet Travis Tritt. Ted Nugent, got to meet him. He was cool. All the Three Doors Down guys. I mean, but getting to meet those guys, knowing that you're fans of their music, and it's been an incredible experience to get to do that. Yeah.
I grew up on the same street as Dan Auerbach from Black Keys. So that's what my one claim to fame. I did hear that Chris Polanco was a really nice guy.
Oh yeah.
I went through a very interesting, similar experience with being able to tell my story. It was definitely the same thing with the COVID time when everybody's in lockdown. We did here at the house. Same thing everybody else did. Started TikTok channel, man. Aaron Hale's Cooking Without Looking. And it was funny too, because we did something every single day, and it was just me cooking in the kitchen, doing confections, kitchen hacks, that kind of stuff. But it wasn't until, because ever since I went blind, it was Aaron does these things. He was a runner, he was a cook, mountain climber, all that kind of stuff. And also, I'm blind. Instead of the blind guy who does these things, I didn't want to be pigeonholed, like you said, into one thing. But it wasn't until I stepped into and accepted it. It was like a chip on my shoulder. I didn't want to be the blind guy, but I am. So as soon as I started sharing how I do these things, not just what I do, but how it is that I, the accessibility stuff, sharing that kind of thing, how I do measurements. So I definitely relate to having a resistance or a reluctance to get specific in what you are, I guess, except in, yeah, it's okay to pick a niche, but I definitely understand wanting to be a generalist, right? How do you get the inspiration? How do you tell your story in music form? Do you write all your stories? I know a lot of artists have songwriters.
I've got a couple songs that I didn't write that I have recorded, but pretty much everything that everybody knows. Crank It was the first song I ever wrote in Nashville, and it was the first music video I ever came out with. Co-wrote Burn. Any of my music video songs, I've co-written essentially. I've got a couple of songs. One's New Set of Tires, Jeffrey Steele wrote that one, huge songwriter in town. One of the songs on the Celebrate America EP, Be Aware of the Owner, was written by Win Varble and a veteran as well. And but those were put on the album, and I co-wrote the other three. So yeah, I mean, for me, I was a poet. I like writing. I wouldn't say I was a poet, but I liked writing poetry as a teenager. And the music side of it, putting the two of them together, really kind of came naturally. Song structure, figuring out song structure had to be learned by writing with writers who knew how to write songs. Craig Wilson and I, he's God rest his soul, died a couple years ago, but he and I, really wrote a lot of the first songs that I've recorded, all the way up to Let's Talk About Heroes. We co-wrote that together. What You Think, actually, all the way up to What You Think of Me was the last music video I put out. We co-wrote that together. But he kind of, once I started getting the feel of how that works and the structure of songs and different things, I mean, you're seeing with the Morgan Wallens of today and the Hardys and whatnot, the Luke Combs folks, you're getting to see different song structures that kind of break the mold of the typical, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus out kind of thing. You're seeing different structures to songs, and I actually really love how they're not the same. And Jeffrey Steele was really good at writing songs, or is really good. I can't say was, because he's still a prolific songwriter, of songs that don't have the typical song structure. Like I have a song called Swamp Thing that I recorded as a demo that he produced for me. Folks can find it on the internet. It's on YouTube, but it doesn't have your typical song structure. It's a bit different. And the chorus is super short. It's like it's a Swamp Thing. I mean, that's pretty much, it's a Swamp Thing. And that's pretty much what the chorus is. And it's interesting how people can change that, typical song structure. But for me, I mean, it's you get in a room with somebody, and if they've got a different idea about writing a song, I think the most important thing is going into a writing session with somebody with an open mind, and not thinking it has to be a certain way, because that's when the best songs are created, I believe. And these guys being writers that know how to inner rhyme and know about alliteration and know about end rhymes and near rhymes and those kind of things, and just the different kind of and flow of words. I mean, you have words that have, you can rhyme the sounds and have the same sounds within the word, as opposed to, and if you, Eminem talked about all that, like how to say a word a different way, or enunciate a word a different way to be able to make it match with other words. Those kind of things are all intriguing to me. And when you get in a great writing session where things are really popping off and you got a groove going, those are awesome. But the other songwriting sessions are the ones where you can get in a room with 2 people or 4 people or 6 people, whatever it is. You get in a room and everybody all of a sudden has a block, and then nobody can think of an idea. And then somebody sitting over, I mean, Craig, one of his, all the writers that have written with Craig Wilson, the guy I mentioned, one of his notorious things was you're sitting in there and he writes on his phone. I get on my laptop and I can get on the internet and find rhyme words and different things to spur different ideas. And I'm writing, and and he's writing on his phone, and he'll go quiet for 10 minutes, and you're sitting there and you both got a block, and he's quiet for 10 minutes, and then he gets back on his guitar and he just strums out something that's freaking incredible, or he'll do something that's, half of it is really good, is amazing, and then the other half needs polishing, and then I throw a word in there that changes it, or a different structure that changes it. And that's the beauty of songwriting. And I have to say that the songwriting aspect of it is one of the most enjoyable things about doing music. The performance aspect of it is, for me, the highlight of it all. And that's 5%. That's 5% of what you do as an artist. I mean, unless you're out there on tour all the time doing all that kind of stuff, and you've got a team of folks that are working for you, you're doing everything. You're doing the marketing, you're doing the booking, you're doing all that stuff, and it's a grind. And a lot of folks don't get to see that grind when it comes down to it. So, but yeah, that's how we make it happen.
Did you have a mentor or mentors when you were first coming up that helped show you the ropes, or kind of gave you a little coaching or anything like that?
Not at the beginning, really. I mean, it was I watched essentially. I went to the club scenes. I went to the to see how other artists do it, and I have a marketing mind. One of the things you always have to do as an independent artist is pimp yourself. If you can have other people pimping yourself out, but you got to pimp yourself out like a hooker. I mean, you got to be able to sell yourself like nobody's business when it comes down to it, because it is a business.
Mm-hmm.
But I did come to town early in my career for what was called the George Jones University, and essentially George Jones would bring a bunch of people in, maybe 150 people or something like that, where his RV, his bus is in his barn, quote unquote, one of the biggest barns I've ever seen in my life, had a stage in it, all that, but he brought in speakers, and essentially it's a $300 thing. You hand out your business card, but you get to listen to speakers about the music business. And a guy named Wayne Halper, who is I believe the chief operating officer for Capitol Records when Garth Brooks took off. He was a lawyer, entertainment lawyer, but he was one of the first people that got up to speak. And he gave a few pieces of advice that stuck with me. Out of that whole thing, I remember what he said more than anybody. And the 3 pieces of advice or things that he said that really stuck with me was, first, there are 1,000 people that come to Nashville with a guitar and a dream every single day. And there are 1,000 people that leave Nashville with an empty guitar case because they had to sell it to get back home because they didn't learn about the music business. And then the second thing he said, you have to figure out how to sell yourself as a marketable product, because passion and all that's going to keep you in town for so much. But if you can't figure out how to market yourself as a marketable product, the bottom line is record labels care about putting meat in seats and selling albums. That's it. The record labels, it's called the music business for a reason. They're here to make money. The inspiration and all that kind of stuff is cool, but if they're not making money, it doesn't matter. You're going to get cut from the record label. And the third thing he said is, there are 2 things in town that are going to make you successful, and talent is not necessarily one of them, because they can make you sound like anything. He said, who you know and how much money you have are going to make you successful in this town, because money will open up doors that you cannot get into otherwise. and who you know can open up doors that you can't get into otherwise, but who you know can also get you the money that can open up doors that you can't open up otherwise. He said, so focus on networking and fundraising for your endeavor, because angel investors
Mm-hmm.
in this business have made more mega stars than anybody else, because those mega investors opened up doors that those you know maybe demo singers like Rascal Flatts, Gary LeVox was a demo singer when he got discovered.
Mm-hmm.
But he met a lot of people through demo singing, and was discovered through demo singing. Taylor Swift, her parents, everybody knows her parents had a ton of money and bought her record deal. And she got in rooms with folks. Everybody knows this in town. She got in rooms with
Mm-hmm.
folks at 11 years old. They were sending emails out saying, hey, we got this new artist that we want hit songwriters get in a room with. Do you honestly think at 11, 12, 13, or 14 years old, no, 11, 12, and 13, that she knew what it meant to sit up in the stands of a high school football game and and cheering on her boyfriend that's out on the high school football field? She didn't know about that stuff, but she sang about that stuff because the person that got in the room with her helped her write those things. So but so the money that she had opened up the doors. Now she's done amazing things since then with the money that she had, and the money that she
Mm-hmm.
made, but she hit just at the right time, to be doing that. So yeah, I mean, I can't necessarily say I had a mentor. I would say David Corlew mentored me, that when I needed to go to that next level, when I moved to the arena performances and that stuff, he was mentoring me there. Um, but prior to that, it was really just having a marketing mind, um, figuring out, using those three pillars of success, I called them, as my guiding force, focusing on those three things, and having that marketing mind and selling myself as a marketable product. Really, most of it was done between my own ideas and crowdfunding and my fans supporting me to get the music videos done. I focused on one song at a time and releasing a music video with those songs, as opposed to paying for entire albums to get done and then trying to release music videos off those songs. So that's kind of the way that I went about it. So that
Well,
once as Facebook really started taking off, and then Instagram started taking off, and all the different other things, having multiple media outlets to put them on YouTube, getting them on national television, those kind of things, having all those different media outlets to push one media content, a piece of media content, really helped, because putting a song out there is like having your name in a phone book. If you don't put any money behind it or have any other kind of promotionals outside of just putting a song out, song's probably not going to do very well. So I focused on the music videos and having storylines in my music videos to kind of do the Michael Jackson thing with Thriller, how he started
mm-hmm.
off having that, almost a mini movie, a mini short, along with a music video. I kind
Yeah.
of wanted to do that because I really love that, and plus it was a big bang for your buck. You get a storyline, you get a cool stuff like that going on, and then have something that is a little bit more interesting than just a performance music video.
There's so much there.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I was just thinking before we started talking, is that I was wondering what Taylor Swift is going to sing about now that she's not going to be singing about, hopefully not singing about ex-boyfriends, but she is just a marketing genius, maybe the best ever. But
She's got a great team with her too. That billions of dollars can afford an amazing team. Trust me.
yeah. But then also, you're talking about treating it like a business, and uh, one who's not shy to talk about that is Gene Simmons. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
he talks about it. He says it is a music. They call it a music business, and that's all he did was he would market Kiss himself, and uh, he would do what he would listen to the audience, listen to the market, and give exactly what they wanted. So you're right. It's networking, and it's amazing that it seems like there's some universal truths there. No matter what you want to be successful in, talent only gets you so far. Talent's
Yeah,
sexy,
absolutely.
but talent is sexy, but it's hard work. It's connections. It's you know, if you don't have the money, you better do the work.
Like you were just talking about, it's not necessarily just on talent. It's, I mean, if you have the brains to engineer a widget that could potentially change a lot of people's lives, you could make $0 off of that widget if you aren't willing to do the work or don't have the money to put behind the marketing for that widget. Um, and then you could have a multi-billion-dollar widget that buys you a yacht and an airplane if you meet the right people that can distribute it or you have the money to be able to put behind it. But a lot of folks haven't been able to. I mean, I've seen so many people in town that are they have this saying, once on Broadway, always on Broadway. So you have the Broadway players that'll get out there, and the musicians, the actual musicians, like the guitar players and drummers and whatnot, not necessarily the artists and the singers. The musicians that are out there, they're great at networking because they're playing every single one of those bars, and then they get picked up to go out on tour with other artists that are out there. So they're constantly marketing themselves and networking. The artists, on the
Mm.
other hand, there are a lot of folks that come into town that don't realize that the getting discovered on Broadway is not the way that things necessarily happen anymore. And you get on Broadway, and if you start playing the circuit as an artist, all the bars downtown, and you haven't figured out how to get out of the full-time or the part-time job that you're working, and get out of those bars,
Mm-hmm.
playing, cover songs, and figure out how to get into the writing scene or because the writing scene controls Nashville. I mean, it really does. A lot of folks don't know that, but get into
Hmm.
the writing scene, figure out how to knock on doors, or figure out how to get out to social events to meet people. Um, those kind of things. If you're not willing to grind in that regard, I did it a completely different way. I looked at it a completely different way, but because I've played downtown on Broadway, but just as for a CMA Fest or an event or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't get into the doing the multiple bar 4 hours after 4 hours after 4 hours after 4 hours thing. I was too old for that. I started I moved to Nashville at 39 when I retired from the military. At 52 now, I definitely can't do it. Plus, I don't feel like being out until 3 o'clock in the morning. Trying to see if somebody's going to discover me because I know it just doesn't happen that often anymore. So yeah, it's definitely, like you said, figuring out how to market yourself is extremely important. There are a lot of kids that are getting signed on TikTok, off of TikTok nowadays. They figured out how to do social media to where they can produce a marketable product already. And through that marketable product, they get a massive following. But it's marketing. It's not just performing a song. It's marketing yourself on TikTok, knowing how to use that as a marketing platform. Because I can get up there on TikTok, and I've only got 12,000 followers, I think, on TikTok, and sing one of my songs, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to do great if I don't know how to use the algorithm to reach my followers or to reach additional followers. So, yeah, that's a big part of it. It really is.
You're gonna have to start singing and dancing.
Yeah, boogie.
But yeah, I think I don't. I think we made it up to like 150,000 followers with the cooking show. So
That's
how about
great.
how about a country cooking show?
There you
Uh,
go.
but you're right. Speaking of the videos, though, you mentioned music videos, and this is we're a long way from MTV and even country music television, CNT, when it was, what was it, V8? Was the other one VHF? V, I don't know.
VH1.
VH1, that's the one. But when they actually did music videos. So what is it now? Just all YouTube and are people
There are music video
watching?
channels out there, but most of the stuff that you're finding now is YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all the different social media platforms. But I mean, I have an internet provider. I don't have normal cable. I have internet channels that I buy, and there
Mm-hmm.
are music channels out there that do have music videos that go along with them that are in the packages. But a lot of people actually really like to watch those things, so there's still an opportunity for you to do that. The gyms, there are always music videos on in gyms.
Mm-hmm.
Figuring out how to get a promoter to get those to gyms. That kind of stuff. But even a lot of the gyms now are just putting music to generic music videos. Like I work out in Planet Fitness, and they used to have music videos there on there, but now they just put the music to mountain biking or skydiving or whatever. Just and that's other curate or content that's made by skydiving people or rock climbing people or cliff jumping,
Mm-hmm.
base jumping people, and or mountain biking or motocross or whatever it may be. So it's interesting how that's evolved. So it's kind of like getting in with folks who do that kind of stuff and figuring out how they're marketing it. Or maybe Planet Fitness has actually got their own advertising company that picks a song that fits it, that kind of thing. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows?
Have you ever been surprised or you're pleasantly surprised at maybe the creative use of some of your songs in other videos?
I got to be honest with you. I haven't seen a whole lot. I mean, and it may be because I don't know how to look for tags on my stuff. I mean, if they tag me as an artist, but without the song,
Mm-hmm.
I got to figure out how they do that because I haven't seen. Maybe I need to look at how they how to see whether somebody actually used my song on TikTok. I don't know. So it'd be I got to look into that because once again, being 52 years old, some of the newer technologies and social media stuff that's coming out. I've entrenched myself in Instagram. That's my biggest page, but TikTok, I'm still trying to figure out. And I have a mix of things on there, music and fishing stuff, because I love to fish. But between the music and fishing stuff, I have
Mm-hmm.
to figure that out. So that's it. I appreciate the suggestion. See, I learned something new and something that I need to jump on every single day.
Well, don't ask me. I was cured of screen time in 2011. So,
Right.
uh, but somehow I'm still glued to my phone. But
It,
what's driving the passion now? What's getting you excited? What's getting you jumping out of bed and doing some more music and looking forward to tomorrow?
well, we've got several songs that I've written and recorded already that we haven't released. We've just been looking at the timing for it. I think what we're going to do after we release all of the songs is do a compilation album of all of them as well,
Mm-hmm.
so that people can buy them all in one shot. We got a few more music videos still left under the belt that I'm looking forward to getting done in the next couple of years. I started a couple of years ago in the motivational speaking realm as well, telling everybody about
Mm-hmm.
my story and inspiring folks is always a great thing. I love to talk to people after the motivational speeches that something in what I said is inspiring them to get up off the seat that they're in to do something special, and or if they've been feeling down because they lost somebody, whatever it is, and getting out of that darkness as well.
Daddy,
Look at that, the kids are home.
Daddy.
So
Oh, hey
look, there they
guys.
are.
That's the boys are back from school and they're making their daily cameo.
There
Oh, hey
they go.
guys.
There you go. Well, that's
Say
I
hi
believe
to
our signal to
Mr.
almost close
Ryan.
this out.
Hi.
Then
Hi.
what's up, dudes?
All right. Well, you guys, will you let Mr. Ryan and me finish our conversation? You guys can get a snack and go watch TV, and I'll be out in just a few minutes.
Daddy, I need the key to the thing. I need the key.
Okay. Oh, I think it's open.
Okay.
Go on. I'll see you in a bit. Shut the door.
That's great. Put on "Let's Talk About Heroes" on your YouTube down if you have it on your TV down there, and they'll be able to see who they were just talking to.
Yeah. That's
And it's
the
it's a kid friendly video.
it's the pleasures of working from home.
That's
Uh,
great.
well, I think that's a great time to segue into our final segment. No
Yes.
pressure because of the kids barging in or anything like that. But the countdown to impact is 3, 2, 1. 3 books, 2 quotes, and 1 person who have all made an impact in your life.
3 books. Okay. That's going to be a good one. Hold on one second. So 3 books. First and foremost, Gus and the French Fry. This might seem silly. It's a kid's book, but knowing that I believe she's 14 now, has written 3 books and put them out on social media. She's actually got, hold on, I'll show you them all. The reason why I'm going to show you this, because she's in all my music videos as well, but there's Gus and the French Fry, Gus Goes to the Library, and Gus and the Narwhal. Those 3 books. She's got those out on and for kids, they're great message books, awesome message books. But she's in all of my, or 2 of my music videos. Let's talk about Heroes and What You Think of Me. And so I would say that inspires me, because at her age, I would never have thought of writing a book and getting it out on Amazon for everybody to order. So all of y'all folks out there, for your kids, these are amazing books for your kids. I mean, I don't know what the top age is, but the youngest, I mean, you can read them to a kindergartner. But amazing books. So that inspires me. The 13-Hour Secret Soldiers of Benghazi is an inspiring book to me, because to get to meet the real life heroes that have actually helped me and been pivotal in launching my music career to the next level has just been an incredible experience for me. Knowing their story, knowing what they went through, watching the movie, all of that, just an awesome experience for me. And then the last book I would say is the one that I'm writing now. It's really cool it's going to be called From Sand to Stage. We're looking at releasing it. I don't know how long it's going to take me to write this, because quite honestly, I've got a very, very short attention span when it comes to writing and reading books. But that's why these books are great for an adult like me. Anyway, they're picture books. But that book is inspiring me to, make sure that my brother's stories are told. And because my brother-in-law, Randy Billings, was piloting a Black Hawk in Afghanistan in 2013. And he was killed in action as well when that Black Hawk was brought out of the sky by an IED on a mountainside. Telling their stories, telling the stories of the people that inspired me, my grandmother, my father, or my dad, who raised me and didn't have to. He adopted Aaron and I at a young age, talking about how I grew up and showing that you can come from less than, I would say, humble means, and finding success in this world, serving my country and finding success, overcoming the obstacles and the loss to find success. All of those things, it's re-inspiring me and reinvigorating me to continue the fight. And then the person that I would say that has inspired me the most, that has changed my life more than anyone, is my brother Aaron. He sacrificed his life for this country, and he inspires me every single day to be better, to drive towards success, and to never quit. He was a hero among men, an all-American superhero, and he gave his life so that I could chase my dreams in these great United States of ours.
Well, that's fantastic. And I want to thank you for your service, for your family's sacrifice, multiple sacrifices, family's service to this country. And I want to thank you for your time today. You shared quite a bit, and I'm glad to have you.
Hey, brother, hearing that from you is absolutely humbling. And all I can say is I really appreciate you inviting me multiple times to come on here and get on our schedules lined up, because both of us are busy folks. And if anybody wants to come and see my stuff, find out about me, ryanweaver.net is my website. And I can't thank you enough for your time today as well, brother.
Well, that answers one of the 2 last questions. Now, one was where to find you, ryanweaver.net. And the last one would be, In your words, what does living a life of legacy mean?
I think it means waking up every single day, knowing that you can make a difference in somebody's life. And if you can change somebody's life or make a difference in one person's life at a time, you don't need to bite off. You don't need to eat the whole elephant at one time. You can eat it one bite at a time.
Oh, sir, that's fantastic. Thank you. And I'll talk to you soon.